Well, hello and welcome, everybody. This is your host, Ken D. Foster, and today I have an amazing show for you. We're going to be talking about home ownership. We're going to be talking about ways that you can get into the market, whether you've ever been in the market or not. This is the show to listen to. Some of you are young buyers. Some of you have just let time go by and you're not in the market. You know, today is an amazing day to get into the market and plan your future. So I'm going to do that with you. I have an expert on my show. He's been in the business for over 30 years. He's going to give you the ins and outs and tell you exactly what you need to do to be able to have home ownership a reality in your life. But before I do that, I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the interview.
I've written a new book. It's called The Courage to Change Everything, Daily Strategies and Wisdom to Unlock Your Genius, your soul, and to transform your life. So it's daily strategies. I wrote this specifically because over the years I've noticed in my own life and in the lives of my clients that, listen, a little inspiration doesn't get it. A little wisdom doesn't get it. A little action doesn't get it. It's daily, dripping on the mind, dripping on those actions, taking specific focused actions towards your dreams and setting specific goals, right? Goals help us to transform the little self into the possibilities that we have in each of us. All of us are given dreams, and if you're sitting there and you're not manifesting that dream, it's just a little bit of you is chipping away every day that's not happening until you finally wake up and say, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to connect with something greater than myself, my force, my God, my life, my universe, whatever. I don't care what you call it. You tune into that force, and that's what's going to get you to the next level.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Ken D. Foster, and I have my guest in studio with me. I want to introduce him to you, but first I want to tell you the name of this show. We're calling it The Courage to Make Home Ownership a Reality. And the reason I called it that is because I have an expert on my show today that's going to really make home ownership a reality for you. His name is John Mallett, and he's a housing industry expert and author. He grew up in the projects and became passionate about home ownership, and it became his mission to support others in becoming homeowners. So he is going to discuss the renter's mindset that holds many eligible homeowners back from getting their homes. And he's going to offer some insights and tips on how to shift that mindset and become a homeowner, like maybe in the next 30 days. How cool is that? John, welcome to the show. It's great to have you.
Great to have you. Great to be here, Ken. Thank you.
Wow. All right. Listen, man, your journey started in the project. So I get you have some passion around this. And, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't in home ownership now. Why is that?
Well, a lot of it is in my studies, the research that we're done and that we're continuing to do is a lot of people don't know that they can buy. Right now, 33% of the people who rent can buy but don't know it. It's a big number of people that can responsibly buy but have no idea of how to go about it or even that they could do it.
Wow. So is this like people have to plan this out? I mean, let's say somebody has a credit rating of 650. Is that person going to be able to buy us a house?
Yep. High probability they will. And see, that's where the myths come in. There's all these myths out there that you can't buy. There's a myth. In fact, there was a survey done by Fannie Mae a long time ago that basically said that they surveyed renters, and the survey came back where they said that 45% of the respondents said you had to have 20% down to buy a home. So if you're going to go out and buy a $300,000 or a $400,000 home, you got to have $60,000 to $80,000 just to get in a house. Well, that's going to be a no deal right there, right? That would take someone that would just say, forget it. Well, the facts are is you only need 3%. You only need $9,000 to $12,000 and you can make it work.
That's amazing. And when you say make it work, is it making it work with a safe loan, or are these like ARMs or things in the
No,
past that
no,
that
absolutely
people
not.
have challenges with?
That's a great question. We're talking about buying responsibly, all 30-year fixed rate loans. No surprises, no change in payments. If anything, the payment goes down over time because your mortgage insurance comes off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you and I know in lower socioeconomic groups, in blacks, Hispanics, some of the groups that are coming in now from, our migrants that are coming in from other countries, they have a renter's mindset, and this has really held them back. What can we do to help them think this through in a different way?
Well, first of all, the first thing to do, and what you're asking about, is probably the essence of everything that we're working on right now. And that is, how do we go about doing that? And it's important to go back to when you're renting. For individuals that grow up in rental homes, a study was done that showed that they have a 8 to 15% less propensity to buy a home than those children who grow up in homes that are owned by their parents. And so when a child is in an environment in a rental property and they want to put a hole in the wall, a nail in the wall so that they can hang up a picture, their parents come back and say, wait a minute, you can't do that because when we leave, we want to make sure we get our deposit back. Well, right there, when we leave, tells the child that they're not in a very solid environment, or they want to paint the room, or all of these things come up. And then parents come up and say, well, we got to move because they raised the rent, or we got to move because their daughter wants them to move in, or they got to move because whatever reasons that might come up. And so there's always this transitory feeling that children grow up with, and so automatically they have this feeling that homeownership is not a possibility. I did a test presentation to inner city schools in Los Angeles, California. And it was on how to buy your first home. They were high school students, seniors. And before I got there, they would have no idea that it was even a possibility.
That is so cool. All right. So, all right, let's talk about that down payment again piece, because that stops a lot of people. And so let's say on a $500,000 home, you're talking a $15,000 down payment at 3%. If that's, now, can somebody go out and borrow that money, or can they get it gifted to them, or how does that work these days?
Okay, that's what the change has been in the last 5 to 10 years, is that all of that money can be gifted. It used to be just FHA had to be gifted, but today with conventional financing, the entire down payment can be a gift. So it changes the entire structure. Most people don't realize that. Now, you can't borrow the money. Borrowed funds are not allowable. So it's got to be a gift, or you've got to put it in the bank and let it season for a while. But it's really important that, they can do that. There's a lot of different ways to go about that.
Well, that's really important. So, that mindset, okay, so growing up with, a mindset that it's not necessarily possible to buy a house, and being able to shift that, it's one of the areas I specialize in. By the way, if that's you, I got a program for you. It's called the Release Program. You can use that. You can go to my website, kendfoster.com, to use that program. But, I bet you've helped a lot of people where they, you can release old subconscious beliefs, or you can step into your courage. How do you help people become more courageous, John?
Well, a lot of times they'll call me up and say, hey, we were out shopping around. We were looking at houses. And the first words that come out of their mouth is, I know we can't qualify, quote unquote, all the time. And then I meet with them on the phone or in person. And 9 times out of 10, they can buy, and they're in their house within 60 days. So, it really depends on their drive to buy. It has a lot to do with transforming lives through home ownership. A lot of people say, you want to buy a home because it's the American dream. Well, that doesn't connect with a lot of people. That just doesn't work. But transforming lives through home ownership does work. The median net wealth of somebody who rents right now is $5,000 in the United States. The median net wealth of individuals who own is $230,000. So it's a 46 times difference. And so really it's educating our potential clients, we call them family members, and say, this is something that you can do.
That's really good. I really like what we're talking about here because I think people can really benefit from it. When I come back, I want to talk to you about some of the pieces that are really holding people back right now from home ownership, including, is it the right time to buy?
Okay. That's a good one.
So we'll take a break and then we'll be right back talking about that.
There comes a time when you know you need to restart and regain control of your life. A time to seek freedom from the anxiety, addiction, and other issues that may be bringing you down. A time to heal and re-emerge as the real you. Villa Kalima is a holistic residential recovery program exclusively for women for individualized treatment. Villa Kalima offers proven clinical and holistic therapies for the mind, body, and spirit to assure sustainable recovery. Villa Kalima focuses on healing the cause, not temporarily masking symptoms. It's the only way to truly recover and find yourself again. Villa Kalima is located in a beautiful, peaceful, resort-like setting and is a licensed and accredited residential treatment center accepting a variety of health insurances. Start your healing and renewal today by calling Villa Kalima in La Costa, California at 760-814-8214. 760-814-8214. Villa Kalima, a place for transformation.
Well, I have something to tell you. This is Ken D. Foster, and before I get back to my guest, I want to let you know that some of you are challenged health-wise, right? I mean, this isn't new information. But, do your legs ever feel restless or swollen or fatigued? Do you ever get cramps that awaken you from sleep? If you do, it might be suffering from chronic venous insufficiency, most commonly caused by blood clots deep in the vein in the leg, which can lead to serious health issues. And I'm telling you this because I have an amazing sponsor on my show. And his name is Dr. John Chubak. And Dr. John Chubak is a certified cardiovascular surgeon who's made it his mission to provide the highest quality supplements using only the best ingredients and relying on scientific research from around the world. He's on the forefront of educating not only physicians, but his patients about the important role dietary supplements can play in the management of vein and lymphatic disease. If you'd like to find out a little bit more about Dr. John Chubak and his company, go to biosupportmd.com. That's biosupportmd.com. You'll be glad you did. There's no reason to live with pain. You can, pain is a warning sign. So if you got it, you need to take care of it. I hope you'll check out Dr. John Chubak. All right, now back to my guest. I've got John Mallett, and John is a real estate expert. We're answering some questions, and we're helping hopefully blow your mindset around I can't do this into I'm going to do this around home ownership. John, okay, is now the right time to buy in the market? I mean, price has been going up for 10 years. I don't know. Is it the right time? And where is the right place to buy?
Well, again, it all comes down to, can you buy responsibly? It's really hard to time the market. And the issue is that we're not in a subprime crisis. We're not in the bubble that we were in. Underwriting is not irresponsible as it was. The loan products aren't little nuclear bombs that are going to blow up and your rate and your payment is going to double. Most of it's all based on 30-year fixed rate mortgages. They're all based on underwriting parameters that show that you can afford it. And when you are in a bubble, it's usually that you're built on something that's a false foundation. And right now we have more job openings than there are jobs. We have historically low interest rates. We have low inventory on the market. And so we're not really, in a sense, We don't really see that the prices are going to go down. We do think that they'll moderate. We do think that rates will rise. And we think that rates going up, you're definitely going to see a plateau come. But whether or not we're going to see any crash, I just don't think so. I think this is a great time. There's not a lot of homes on the market right now.
Yeah, it's really not necessarily a buyer's market. It's more of a seller's market because of that. But at the same time, I think you make a good point. There's a lot of positive aspects in right now that we should really be looking at. Let me ask you something else. How do you think if this next shutdown comes, which it seems to be rolling out, how will that impact real estate? And again, should a home buyer buy, or should a potential buyer buy now?
Well, and what's happening right now is that employees are finding that they don't need to go to the office anymore. There's a lot of companies that have said, no, we're just going to go on virtual links, and therefore, you're not ever going to come back in the office. Well, what happens is you have out-of-state, out-of-area migration starting to take place. And our studies show that there's people that are moving out of the urban areas into the country, into areas that they've always wanted to live in, but could never afford because their job wasn't there. Well, now their job's there. So it changes the entire dynamic of the possibility of buying a home.
I've really often thought about that myself. I'm out here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and I'm doing my show live. We're doing a live broadcast. We've designed our business to be completely online, my wife's business. So there are no more restrictions on really where people can live anymore. We can live anywhere we want, which I think is very interesting to the marketplace.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you ask the question, seeing the unseeable and
know the unknowable and do the impossible.
I mean, that is really critical, because once people get it in their heads that they want to buy, then what happens is we call the drive to buy kicks in. Man, when the drive to buy kicks in, all sorts of things happen. The universe just really comes together. All of a sudden, down payments appear that they never thought were possible. Their credit report gets, rises. Their scores go up. I mean, all of this stuff happened. I had a couple that were totally committed to it. There's no way they could qualify. They pulled a trailer onto their parents' backyard, lived in the trailer, asked for raises, got the raises, increased their credit score, and in 1 year they bought. So, what your show is so in tune with what happens when you have the drive to buy, when you get it in your head that you can do this.
Well, and I'll speak to that, because what I've seen over the years is the what you just talked about. We call them miracles or magic or synchronicity. All shows up when you set strong intention, and you also enroll some other people in that strong intention. One might be your mortgage banker. One might be your wife or husband. One might be your best friends, and they start to hold that vision. Yeah, you're going to get this house. We don't know how it's going to happen, but you're going to do it. When you start putting that intention and that power behind your dream, then all of a sudden dreams start to manifest. And it's not magic. It's not miracles. It's actually scientific. And for those of you that want to see the science about it, there's a wonderful woman. Her name is Lynn McTaggart. She's got a book called The Power of Eight. Go get the book and learn what we're talking about here, because it will happen for you.
And it works. I mean, people, that's insurmountable. There's no way that they could have thought that they could buy a home, or that they could buy a home and get a larger home. And then all of a sudden, boom, it happens.
It happens, and it happens time and time again. Okay, so, and I guess, with the mindset, since we're on mindset right now, those people that go into doubt and uncertainty and worry and fear and all that stuff, what happens with them, John?
Well, normally it doesn't work. They give up.
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen. They're as soon as they commit, that comment or that poem by W.H. Murray, as soon as they commit, providence moves too. And it doesn't matter what, whether it's the universe or whatever you interpret, but man, I see it time and time again that when people get it in their head. I had this gal come in, and in California, prices are high, right? They're $1 million. Right. She came in and she said, I want to buy this home. It's $1 million. She gave me all of her stats, and I told her, absolutely no way. You're not qualified. And then I said, but why don't we try? Why don't we give it a shot? and 3 months later, she was in the house.
Isn't that amazing?
And they could responsibly make the payment. There was a big enough home that had the right garage. They moved their business into the garage, so they didn't have to lease their business property anymore. I mean, it just flowed. I mean, it just came together for them.
And it
all
can
the
come.
time.
And I guess in our message today with my audience is it can come together for you too. On our screen, if you're watching it via TV, you can see the website and also the phone number to contact John. So your first step, of course, is getting that mortgage broker on your team. Now, by the way, I didn't bring in any mortgage broker to help you today. I brought in John Mallett. John's done over $1 billion worth of mortgages. He knows the business. He's an expert. He can help you. So, John, you want to give out your website and phone number so that they can contact you?
Got it. johnwmallett.com. Phone number, if you want to give me a call, is 818-874-9900. Love to speak with you.
That's good. Well, we'd love you to speak with them too. I think they would help. So, all right, John, listen, I'm going to take another quick break. When I come back, I want to talk to you about some closing thoughts and ways that maybe if there's any incentives or anything that are out there right now to really help people to the next level here. We'll be right back.
Today, women in business are helping each other prosper like never before by overcoming stereotypes, networking together, and sharing essential resources. Since 1991, Women's Wisdom, the premier business networking organization for purpose-driven, soul-inspired entrepreneurs, has helped women grow their businesses and become the best version of themselves. Women's Wisdom hosts online events with celebrity speakers, best-selling authors, and business experts dedicated to helping you, the small business owner, expand your possibilities, build new relationships, and get the right referrals. Take your business to the next level and join Women's Wisdom at womenswisdom.net. That's womenswisdom.net.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm here talking to real estate expert John Mallett, and we're talking about how you can get in the market. And no matter really where you are, you can create a plan to get in the market, within the next 30 days or within the next year. But you can get in the market, John. Okay, let's talk about that piece I said before the break. What is it that people, if there's any incentives or anything people need to do right now to move forward with this, what is that?
It comes back to me as to why you want to be there. Why do you want to buy? For me, it's really personal. As I grew up in the projects, I grew up on welfare. And man, when I found out that there was a possibility that I could buy, that I could have the kind of stability that I wanted, I went for it. And, transforming lives through homeownership. That's what it's about. It's about the idea that homeownership is a sacred trust. And if you take care of it, it'll take care of you, not in a religious sense, but in a sense that it's where your kids take their first steps. It's where your daughter or son go on their first prom date. It's that sacred place for you and your family that if you take care of your home, it'll take care of you. And so people come to me and they say, we need 3.5% down. And by the way, the down payments are so low right now, 3%. It's a great time to do that. They come to me and say, we don't have the down payment, so we can't buy a home. But then after I talk to them a little bit more and get the why, the drive to buy, all of a sudden they can come up with the money. And so it really has a lot to do with your mindset. It has a lot to do with the possibility that this really can happen.
Well, it really can happen if you believe it can. And I think, John, you and your team can help people to take it to the next level. So one more time, I want to put out your website. It's John W. Mallett, MALLETT.com. And also you can just call, it's like right now, you can get on the phone and make that call, right? 818-874-9900. I think you'll be glad you did. I got a feeling, John, I know your staff is friendly and they're there to just answer questions,
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you.
I love that. All right. Well, listen, man, I love to have you back on the show too.
I love it.
Let's talk about just final thoughts, and then I got to close up the show. It went by quick, but thank you so much for being here.
You bet. Yeah, so I think that you can do it. I think it's the idea of taking the step. There's so many people that can qualify and don't know it. It's incredible the amount of opportunity that's out there. It's a myth that you got to have a great credit score. It's a myth that you got to have a big down payment. But it's not a myth that those who own homes have a 50% less chance of divorce. Their children do better in school. Their children have less incidence of asthma. There's all of these things about home ownership that a lot of times we don't even realize what they are. It's all because of financial aspects. But even on top of that, it's even more powerful as the kind of things that you can develop as a homeowner.
Well said. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you being here.
You bet.
Okay. Why don't you stay on a second as I close this out?
Okay.
All right. So all of you, I hope that you've learned something new today, that you realize that home ownership is not something just for people that have a lot of money and can have great credit scores. It's really for you too, everybody out there. And I hope you'll replay this and send this broadcast out to people that that could really benefit from hearing it. Right? Okay. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. I hope you do. You can get all the Voices of Courage replays at voicesofcourage.us. And also, if you're driving down the road, just tell Alexa, Cortana, or Siri to play Voices of Courage podcast, and it will come right up for you. So until next time, I hope you continue to see the unseeable and know the unknowable and do the impossible.